Hello and welcome back to Hoyt's Points. This is the second video in an introduction on how to use the Streamlined control scheme in Hotdogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. Just in case you haven't seen the first part, I do recommend watching that one first. Just so that we're all on the same page, I will be calling this the grip button, this the trigger, the top button is the B button, the bottom button is the A button, and of course we have the directional stick. Regardless of which hand I will be using, I will be referring to it like that. This video is mostly going to be about attachments, but before we get into that, there's one thing that I should have put into the previous video that I'm going to go over now. Let's say I load into a scene and there's already some guns on the table, or I press the random gun button and I don't know what gun I got. So let's say I like this and I want to be able to find it again or at least know what it's called. If I hold it in one hand and look at the wrist menu with the other, I can see in the blue box here that this is called the Lee Enfield Ruined, or that this is the Flint Glock. This works with any item in the game. You can also pick up magazines and have them identified, or the rounds inside the magazines will also be displayed. These are the simplest attachments in H3VR. I have muzzle devices, muzzle adapters, and foregrips. If the gun is capable of taking any of those, you can simply hold it near the end of the barrel and it'll go on. If you want to remove it, you simply grab it and then press the bottom A button to remove it again. These can stack. Now I can take any of these off simply by pressing A if I just press it in the right order. Next we have suppressors. As long as a gun is capable of taking a suppressor, then all of the suppressors in the game will work for that gun. Just like muzzle devices, I take my gun and hold the suppressor next to the end of the barrel and it'll clip on, but they require the additional step that you have to screw the suppressor on or else it'll go flying off as soon as you start shooting. As a tip, I like to hold my hand in line with the suppressor rather than try and crank on it from the side like this. It seems to work a little better. Next up we have red dot sights. So if I have a gun here that has a rail along the top, I grab my red dot, put it on, and then attach it wherever I want. If I want to readjust its position, I can hold the red dot and press A, and it'll slide along the available rail. Or I can press A, and if I pull my hand away far enough, it'll pop off. Now, red dots do have an adjustable zero distance, and if for some reason you'd like to change that, you can hold a direction left or right on your stick that's holding onto the red dot sight and then click in. It is awkward, and it does mean that as you change your distance, you will move from left to right if you have twin stick like me, but that is the way that we change our zero distances. Thankfully, we won't have to be doing that very often. Bipods are next. If you grab a bipod and put it next to a rail, it'll attach. If you hover your hand next to where you attach the bipod to and click the grip trigger, it will deploy the bipod. If you hold the bipod, you can press A to detach it, or B to toggle the length options of that bipod. As a small tip, if you ever want something to put your bipod on, you can use your options panel as something that you always have available to you. There are several underbarrel weapons in the game. To put them on, you simply grab them by where you see the trigger, place them on a bit of rail on the underside of your gun, and then grab them where you see the trigger. Some of them do have interaction points elsewhere, but loading and firing them is beyond the scope of this video. Now it's time to get into one of the more complicated attachments: laser aiming modules and flashlights. Just like everything else, you can attach them to rails simply by placing them on the rail and letting go, pressing A to readjust, or pulling your hand away to take them off. In order to turn them on or off, you grab the device and then simply tap the B button. This will turn whatever setting they are on and off. However, many of them have complicated functionality in menu systems. To access those, grab the device and hold the B button. This simple flashlight can only go on low, medium, and high, and has no other settings available. However, something more complicated like this Purse 3 will have many options to scroll through, whether you want IR lasers, visible lasers, flashlights, illuminators, and the colors available for each. Scopes. Like all attachments, we simply grab our scope and hold it next to the rail to attach and let go. Now with scopes, if you hold near the base and press B, you'll get an interface menu that will allow you to change the various settings like base 0, the reticle types, elevation and windage, and magnification. You can do it all from this, or you can simply grab the physical dial, and as you're turning it, you can see the setting pop up above the scope. Last up, we have attachments not for a gun, but for your face. These are the thermal and night vision goggles. If you pick them up and press B, you'll get a menu to scroll through the various available options they have. And if you hold it up to your face, they will attach automatically, determined by your settings of your VR goggles. Now, if they are not fitting right, try to adjust your headset, because you can't adjust the night vision and where they go on your headset. Once they're attached to your head, there's a grab point at your forehead that you can feel. Hold grab there and press B to flip up your night vision goggles, or press A to remove them. Well, that's all the attachments. I hope I was able to answer whatever question caused you to seek out this video in the first place. If you still have questions, though, drop them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer them. That's it for this episode of Hoyt's Points. Have a nice day.